It's 2 o'clock in the morning. What keeps you up at night? Why'd you wake up at 2 o'clock?
Probably one of my kids, but no, they're both doing fine. I have two kids. Um, People, and I would say, one of the super important things is the fit for an individual and a job. And so we focus on this a lot. And we all have strengths. Everyone in this room has a series of key strengths. I became interested, Don, several years ago, and there's a book, it's the Strengths Finder book. I bet a few people in the room have heard of it or are familiar with it, but you go on this Strengths Finder book, and in the back, it connects you to take a Q&A type survey that ultimately spits out your top 5 strengths from among 34 themes. And we all have a top 5. And so that's what I preoccupy myself with a lot is how do we put people in a position where they'll shine based on their key strengths. And that's really the whole field of positive psychology, I would say. All of us have weaknesses, and we all need to work hard to neutralize those weaknesses over time. But typically, if we're going to shine and really soar, we're going to get there because of our strengths. And so we've seen over and over, when you put people in a role that really best leverages their strengths, that's where they take off, and it's fun to watch.
Does Penske, do they run Myers-Briggs or DISC assessments or anything, or strength find? Do they do that for a lot of them?
Different departments do different versions of that, but we do have a variety of those kinds of tools. One of the things that you'll probably encounter as you get out there in the business community at some point is you'll have the humbling experience of going through a 360 evaluation. And these 360 evaluations are something where you get all the various groups of people that you interact with in your role. It could be your boss, it can be your peers, other departments who you interact with in your role. And they all answer a survey and tell a little bit about you and how they interact with you. And so you end up learning a lot about yourself, and it's all from a constructive perspective. But I think we all have blind spots, Don, and so those kinds of surveys can be useful in sort of helping us understand how people perceive us, and then it helps you adjust how you approach situations and people, and we do a fair amount of that at Penske.
So if I reflect on what you've talked about so far, and I think it's important to hear your thoughts for the students, is your success basically is based upon your people skills more than it is your technical skills. You agree with that?
I'm a huge believer in that. And people skills is not a personality contest. So, each of us, I think, needs to be the best me that we can be, not the best you that we can be. And so, yeah, I think that's very important. If you can marry technical know-how and interpersonal skills, it's going to take you a long way, because so much in business is collaboration. If you can capably collaborate, which includes communicating effectively, at times being comfortable sharing a point of view, being comfortable challenging respectfully other people's point of view, that's all part of it. And so I think these interpersonal skills are a big deal. It's not all just the hard math and science and that kind of stuff. That's important too, but it takes the whole package, I think, to really enjoy success.
Yeah, certainly. I think I would agree with you from the perspective that other key traits of leadership are humility. I think the ability to ask the right questions. Much like you, I'm a baby boomer, and when I went into the workforce, knowledge was power, so you didn't share much with people you thought you were competing against for positions. But with technology and the speed at which business has gone today, you should be the importance of asking the right questions, and your people skills is critical to your success. So
before you move on now, because you're getting right into my swim lane here as a sales leader, so probing is a big deal. Being able to be comfortable asking questions. You spoke about it, Don, from the perspective of a job interview. And that's one of those moments where probing skills can be really a big deal. Because, and you said preparing to ask a few questions, and respectfully, getting the individual to share some things about their organization. People tend to love to talk about their own business, their own department. They're usually proud of it. And so if you can get them talking about that a little bit, normally, good things will come out of that.
Yeah, quick question. So some of the students in here are juniors and seniors. How quickly or how soon should they start to be looking for a job?
Well, I love the idea of internships where possible. And so we do a lot of that at Penske. And I know probably a number of other employers do. An internship is a great test drive, both for the employer and the employee. And you can really learn a lot about a workplace. So I have a son who is a real techie. He's deep into data science, and that's his field, and he's very focused on it. And so over the course of his undergrad career, he had internships at a couple of places, and then at the end of the summer, I'd always, I'm Dad, I want to know, well, what'd you learn? What's going on here? And he informed me at the end of one summer he really liked the company, but everyone there wore a dress shirt to work every day, and he couldn't see wearing a dress shirt to work every day the rest of his life. That's what you're focused on. But that's how you learn a little bit. These internships, I think, are a great opportunity. Certainly, as you get into the early stages of your senior year, I would say you want to be developing an idea of what some institutions are that you would be that would be attractive to you for one reason or another, and familiarizing yourself with the types of questions you're logically going to be asked. Are you available to relocate or not? You might be asked that in an employment setting, and a number of other things. I'm sure the university has time with the students to help prepare you for some of those moments. But we talked about this in one of the classes I had the opportunity to attend, so it's covering a little of the same ground again. But to me, the single most important thing in these job interviews is to smile. You look at Don here, and Don's always smiling. And you know what? It's so important. It's such a little thing, but it sets the person on the other side of the table at ease, and it will actually set you at ease a little bit. So it's a minor little thing, but don't be afraid to let the real you come out a little bit. And a little humor is not the worst thing in the world either. And so those are just a couple of things I'd share.
Yeah, I mean, that's good advice, certainly as well. You should be on LinkedIn. If you're a student, you should be on LinkedIn. You should start that. The other thing you need to do is learn how to network. One of the things that I always talk to my students about is you should have your own board of directors, people that you trust that can help you begin to network, connect you with the right people. Certainly, with Penske here today, great organization. They have internships that are available, and I'm sure they're hiring. They're always looking for quality people. So, I would encourage you to investigate their website and such. So, I want to leave a little bit of time for questions, but what advice would you give these students right now? What if you knew what you knew now and you went to their age, 18, 19, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
I think the number one thing is to have an open mind. People are going to see things in you and might suggest various courses, the directions your career might take that might surprise you. And you may decide not to go down some of those forks in the road either. But some of them are a result of someone seeing something in you that is leading them to believe that something might be a good path for you. So I think that's important. I think a lot about preparation. And so I do view a career as an everyday thing. And I'm a huge fan of seeing you function in such a way that you can be at or close to your best every day. And so there's just little stuff that really allows that to happen. Little stuff like sleep. I love to party. And Friday night comes, I'd like to go out and have a good time. But come Monday morning, I'm all there. I'm not sort of, it's not taking me till Wednesday till I'm there, because you never know what day or what minute or what hour some critical moment in your life or potential moment is going to come along, where you're going to get introduced to someone who could suddenly have a big impact on your future. And if you're generally at your best, I mean, Don, we all have bad days. We all do. But if you're generally at your best, if you lead your life in such a way that you're all there when you get to the workplace, I think that's going to really help you a great deal. And so that's something to think about. How do I gear myself around that? For me, I do a lot of speaking like this, and I'm always nervous. I've been doing it for years, no less nervous anytime I sit in front of a group like this. So for me, my preparation is I've got to get up, I've got to work out in the morning. That's my edge. And I know I'll be relaxed, I know I'll smile. And that's just, for me, that's what carries me through. We all have some version of that. And being at your best every day, that's a powerful opportunity, powerful thing to leverage.
Yeah, I think it was a good nugget in there is saying, keep your mind open and saying yes. Even if you're not sure that you can do it, that's how you learn. You learn when you're uncomfortable, not when you're comfortable.
And let's talk about being uncomfortable for a moment. This is going to be particularly important as you're in the early stages of finding a job and developing your career. Try and mentally prepare yourself for minor little disappointments here and there. They're going to come, but don't let that stop you from talking to people, from turning over stones, asking questions, asking people that you're encountering in the workplace, their thoughts on, you've worked with me for a while now. What do you think I'm really good at? What do you think, what would be a good path for me in the future? Open doors, ask questions. You may not always get the answer you like, but chances are if you open enough doors, some are going to swing wide open, and it's just going to shock you how it moves you down a path that probably wouldn't have happened had you not been comfortable enough in your own skin to ask a few questions.
Any final thoughts?
No, just really, it's a great time to be entering the business community. Employment issues. We've never had a better environment for employees in this country than we do today. We've also it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. I know the institution here, Alvernia, has Opaque. There's a passion around supporting entrepreneurial thinking. I think that's a fantastic path as well. So just dig in and show up every day, get rolling.